It's a Monday night. I unlock the door, turn on the lights, and stare blankly out of the large room in front of me. To my left are treadmills and ellipticals. To my right are the weight benches and dumbbells. And in the mirror directly across the room is me. I am 16 years old, this same height, and 80 pounds heavier than the person you see in front of you. In my reflection, I see the daily medications for hypertension and liver problems. I see all the doctors who told me I have a highly elevated risk for early onset diabetes. And for some reason, most saliently, I see the closeted gay boy who's worried if he'll ever find love because fat and gay are just two things that don't go together. Porn and television have taught me that if I'm to be gay, it means I have to be thin or muscular. Or if I'm going to be fat, I at least have to grow some body hair and try to pass for a bear. But with my blood pressure rising and not a chest hair in sight, I turn to my left and get on the treadmill. I start off slowly at first, a slight incline and a brisk walk. I'm out of shape and even this makes me short of breath, but I keep going. As I continue, the pounds start to pass like days, disappearing one by one. Looking in the mirror, I no longer feel the shame I once did. It had only been a month, but with exercise and this crazy fad diet my mom and I were doing together, I lost about 20 pounds. And you know, I wasn't the only one who was noticing. More and more, I was getting compliments about how good I was looking and how proud people were of me. In fact, it was beyond compliments. It was as if people were actually being nicer to me. I wasn't getting teased as much at school, and one person even told me something along the lines of, "Wow, if you keep losing weight like this, your life is going to be so much easier." It's an awful truth, but people are just nicer to thin people. While I'm sure all of this was well-intentioned and in many ways unconscious, these things, along with almost all representations of gay masculinity, were the first things that brought me to internalize the idea that somehow my worth as a person was inversely proportional to the number I saw on the scale. So I continued to abstain from the carbs that I loved and made my way to the gym every night for my usual treadmill session. But now, things were different. Besides the slightly faster pace and the steeper incline, my inner monologue was no longer as positive as it once was. Gone were the days of, "Keep going, you can do it, in just a few more minutes." Instead, I had become hostile towards myself. My thoughts were the likes of, "Keep going, fat ass. If you give up now, you're just pathetic." It was like the words of all those who had ever teased me for my weight were chasing me, and no matter how fast I walked, no matter how fast I ran, I couldn't get away from them. You see, somewhere along the lines, I fully drank the proverbial Kool-Aid, not literal, of course, because that has calories, and accepted the idea that I would be less of a person until I was thinner. Every time I stepped on that treadmill, I became the very voices I was trying to get away from. After a little over 3 months, I had lost about 60 pounds and gained both the acceptance and good graces of my peers, as well as the attention of a boy from a neighboring town. Given this, I was satisfied. My weight loss slowed and my inner monologue returned to normal. Once my total weight loss got to around 80 pounds, I settled in, gladly accepting the glory of carbs back into my life once again. But just as all good things must come to an end, so did this one. And what brought on its demise? College. I remember the first night I was introduced to the gay community here at the LGBT Center's annual event, The Affair. As I walked into the room and looked around at all the seemingly small or muscular bodies, I became blatantly aware that although I was thin by usual standards, I was entering the often hypersexualized community of gay masculinity, and was now subject to an entirely more stringent set. While looking back, I'm sure there were other people with bodies like mine, the sheer concentration of seemingly stereotypical twinks or jocks just gave me tunnel vision focused only on them and my personal shortcomings. It scared me to death to think that after all the work that I had put in, that after everything I had gone through, I still didn't have a place to fit in. I still couldn't feel like I belonged. Given these newfound standards and my longing to be liked and desired, I conformed. And with this confirmation came the return of things long dead, like my toxic inner monologue, as well as many new things, like a mild eating disorder. Despite my total weight loss dropping even lower, I still never felt like I was good enough. And since then, it has taken me months of therapy, months of soul searching, months of constant inner battles to reach where I am now, which, believe me, is far short of perfect. But I'm working on improving, slowly but surely. Though I may not have ripped muscles or a rock-hard body, I can run 10 miles, then eat an entire quart of ice cream in one sitting after, and I think that's pretty impressive. Granted, some days I just do one of these activities, and some days I only do the other. It's a balance. And while the scale continually fluctuates, I'm coming to understand that whether I lose a few pounds or gain 20 or 30, my weight is not a determinant of my value as a person. Granted, do I always believe this? Hell no. There are still times when I poke my stomach and whine excessively about the layer of chub that protects my obviously rock-hard abs underneath. Still times when I'm perusing Facebook and an ad for Andrew Christian underwear will pop up, and I will just masochistically stare at it, feeling progressively worse with each passing second. Still times when I am so glad that a muscular Tinder boy says he just wants to be friends, because that means I will not have to suffer the direct comparison of our naked bodies next to each other. And don't even get me started on the second floor of Pop Truck. And while these things do often make me feel pretty terrible, and do bring on a pity party complete with cookies, ice cream, and lots of self-loathing, I always end up okay. I remember that this body is mine, and at the end of it all, while I am no twink, no bear, no jock, nor a hunk with abs or perfectly manscaped underwear model, I have worked my ass off, both literally and figuratively, to get my body to where it is today. And no one can take that away from me. Thank you.